All right, everybody, we're here. Tomo Bystedt, how you doing, sir?
Doing good, doing good.
We're here with the TaylorMade Qi-10 launch, and we've got some pretty exciting stuff.
Pretty exciting.
And one, I'm going to start off the head cover, super cool. I think you guys did an awesome job. I know that, head cover's not part of really the tech or anything, but just a cool piece with some of the
we put thought into it. We put thought into it. It's not something we gloss over for sure, so yeah.
But I like the look. It looks good.
Appreciate it.
But what's under it is also very, very cool. So we've got the Qi-10 Max.
Right.
And the big word going around today is MOI 10K.
10K, yeah.
So let's explain a little bit. Let's start with MOI.
Yeah.
When we're talking about MOI, I know people have probably heard that term used a lot when you're talking about drivers and woods, but what exactly is MOI?
So MOI is the measurement of an object's resistant to twisting. And so in golf terms, what that means is when you don't hit the center of the face or the sweet spot, the club will have a tendency to rotate away from that spot, and it will create, vibration in the handle, and it will loss of ball speed, all that stuff will happen. And so higher MOI means it will protect against that more, right?
Gotcha.
And so that's ultimately what we're trying to do, that to the max on this product, hence the max name.
That's right. And 10K is the other big term that's kind of floating around. And 10K is kind of the number associated with MOI. And how does that kind of correlate? Because I think to most of us, 10K, okay, it's 10,000, but how does that relate to MOI?
So MOI is, again, the 10,000 number is a combination of two measurements. One is the heel-toe forgiveness. So when you miss a heel-toe, that has a MOI number, and then the up-down has another MOI number. And adding those numbers together is your total MOI. And that's the number that's 10,000. So in our case, we have about 5,900 on the heel toe and about 4,100 on the top down. And that's really, a massive improvement, obviously, from where we've been before and kind of where the industry has been before even. So that's something that we're extremely excited about and something golfers are really going to notice when they hit the product.
Yeah, and I think that's the other thing is that when you say 10K and you're like, you don't understand how difficult kind of this was to get to this point and how kind of significant it is, because this really does step up the forgiveness side of even the previous Stealth 2, Stealth, which were forgiving drivers, but this is taking it to the next step. Yeah,
and honestly, like we're taking a bigger step going from Stealth 2 to this product than we have any other year by year in history of TaylorMade, really. So that's the crazy thing about this is it's not only an improvement, it's a giant leap in forgiveness. And that's where we think golfers are really going to notice that and experience a true difference in performance.
Yeah, and honestly, when we talked about Stealth 2 previously, we talked about how much more carbon was in the head. And you kind of showed us a graph earlier and it kind of showed all the weight of the weights of the parts.
Yeah.
And it seems like there's even more kind of carbon and composite in
Absolutely there is,
Is that true?
Yeah. So right now, a typical head weight on a driver is about 200 grams. This one is 205. And what we do is we want to whittle away the weight of things that don't need to be heavy. You want things like this tungsten weight in the back to be heavy because that's what creates that MOI. But for example, this titanium frame that's around the face, you want that to be lighter. And so this is only about just over 70 grams right now. So just a little bit over a third of the head weight is in metal right now, and the rest of it is carbon or like other metals like tungsten at the back. And that's really what it's all about, is just maximizing the use of those materials.
Yeah, and it's pretty interesting you mentioned the face, because we have kind of a new face design. It's still carbon.
Yep.
It is blue, no longer red. It is blue, but we've got a little different design, right?
Yeah.
The face and kind of the supporting structure are both different.
Yeah, exactly. So one of the things about the carbon face, so it's still a carbon face. It's still 60 layers of carbon. So these like really thin sandwich layers of carbon, 60 layers in there, built in a way now that's more sort of integrated with the frame of it. So not only does that help, things like durability and all that, but it's really helping to create more flexibility on the frame, which ultimately helps off-center ball speed.
Yeah.
And again, that's where most of us live, is off-center. Like
Unfortunately,
once in a while we'll hit one in the middle, but it's all those other ones that you want those to go as straight and as far as possible. And that's what we're trying to create with this structure of this new Qi-10 Max.
And then also, talking more about carbon, which this whole head is carbon. We've got a brand new carbon crown, a kind of really sleek and got a really good look, and it's called the Infinity Crown.
Yep.
And give us a little experience. Why is it the Infinity Crown?
Yeah, so you've been to an infinity pool, right?
I have.
Yeah, so the idea is that the carbon falls off all the edges of the product. And honestly, since the dawn of the carbon crown, this has been kind of the dream eventually of like having the entire top of the club covered in carbon. Because not only do you get a super clean, elegant look, like you said, but it obviously saves the most weight.
Yep.
Because you're carving away, hopefully other heavier materials. And so what we're able to do now is create such a good one-to-one fit on all these components that we're able to do that. Because think about combining all these different materials together, creating that perfect fit is very, very difficult.
Oh, I bet.
And that's something that our engineers have worked years on doing. And when you feel the face to crown transition, for example, here, how seamless all of this is, it's quite the feat of engineering. And again, we don't necessarily talk about that, but that's part of the beauty of this Infinity Crown is just how well it's put together and how clean it looks behind the ball too.
Yeah. And then the other thing too is a little bit of shape difference. Now, when you set it down, it still looks like a TaylorMade driver.
Sure.
TaylorMade's had that distinct kind of look to it.
Yeah.
But you have kind of changed the shape a little bit compared to, say, Stealth 2.
Absolutely, yeah. I think, so obviously to get to the 10K number, the magical 10K number, you couldn't get there with shapes that we already had. So, part of what we do is we care a lot about shape and look and feel and all those subjective things about golf clubs. And certainly shape is super important for the golfer. You have to be inspired by how it looks behind the ball.
Yep.
So we modified the shape. We created a longer front to back shape, but still something that looks good, I think, to golfers of all levels. It might take a couple of shots to get used to it if you played a smaller head to begin with, but certainly something that we think still looks elegant and good to a lot of golfers.
Yeah, no, I mean, overall, I think the package looks fantastic. Like you said, between the Infinity Crown, that shape, it still holds that TaylorMade DNA, but it is just slightly different.
Yeah.
But again, when you set it down, I don't think you really notice that big of a difference.
Absolutely, yeah.
So this is the Max, which is the one that is 10K, high MOI, extreme forgiveness, the most forgiving driver you guys have ever made.
Absolutely. Our most forgiving driver ever.
All right, so if you want to check out the Qi-10 Max, it's 10K, MOI, TaylorMadeGolf.com. Qi-10 Max. Now we're checking out Qi-10. So again, we're kind of preaching this really forgiving, yet really fast, really forgiving driver. What is it about Qi-10 kind of compared to Stealth 2? What is the kind of the major things that people should look for when they're checking this out?
Yeah, so I think when you look at the Max, first of all, you're looking obviously at the 10K platform of long straight distance. Here, we're going to move a little bit more towards sort of a mix between ultimate forgiveness and sort of the lower spinning launch conditions that some faster players would look for. And so really trying to kind of bridge the gap between playability, forgiveness, and distance, and sort of that more aggressive golfer kind of mindset. And I think also from a kind of look standpoint, this looks a little different. It has a little bit shorter front to back than the Max, but still actually a new shape for us. This is a brand new shape. It's a little longer than the Stealth 2. Front to back, it's going to be about 4 millimeters longer than the Stealth 2, and a shape that we're honestly very excited about. We think this looks really good behind the ball, and we've already had a lot of success with this in terms of feedback from the tour players as well. So a lot of players could fit into this. It's sort of like a fitting situation, obviously, between the three heads that we have, but this one is going to have that really great sort of hybrid performance between, again, the Max forgiveness and also that LS kind of low spin performance.
Yep. And then we also do notice, too, on the face here, something a little different. Not only is it blue carbon, but we do notice that we do have kind of the alignment line that we saw in Stealth Fairway.
Yes.
So what made it kind of come to the driver now?
Yeah, so I think, we always look at ways of improving all our clubs, and sometimes we get inspiration from other categories of stuff that we make ourselves. And so what was cool about this was we got great feedback on the fairwoods over the last couple of years with Stealth and Stealth 2 of just having that super clean alignment with just that one single line on the top. And so we designed this one on the driver to kind of complement that. And what that enabled us to do is to go a little darker on the face color and then focus the eye more on just a single line at the top. What's nice about it too is we engineered it so that the curvature of the top line matches the bulge and roll, so it actually looks really straight from the top when you set it behind the ball. So again, think of it like a putter. Like whatever putter you play, you'd want to have it a way you can align it to the target. Yep. That's essentially what we're doing with the driver here.
Yeah, and the funny thing is you see it here and it's in the sunlight, you kind of notice it. Yeah. In the playing position though, you kind of almost forget it's there.
It's subtle.
I mean, it's there, but it's really not.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Qi-10, pretty interesting. Again, a lot of carbon, slightly bigger composite ring than I think the LS or something. Right?
That's right.
They're all a little different in terms of that.
They're all different. Shape. They're all honestly optimized to do their individual job. That's why they're all subtle differences in there, because we're kind of engineering each one individually at the end of the day to maximize what that platform can deliver to the player.
Yeah. So the Qi-10, the kind of the middle driver in the range.
That's right.
But another great one. All right. So we're going to take a look at the final, but definitely not least, Qi-10 LS. So the LS model, I think we can all kind of jump to a conclusion and say LS, a little bit lower spinning, but this tends to be the most compact model of the three, and the one we've kind of seen some of our favorite pros play on tour already.
Yeah, absolutely.
So far, it's already got a win. Yeah, actually.
It's already had a win on tour.
Exactly. Scotty Scheffler gave it its first win, but
that's right.
What's a little different about the LS compared to the other two?
Yeah, so the LS, it sort of brings in some of the heritage around our low spin products of the past. So think about, Stealth 2 Plus and clubs like that. And definitely we wanted to create a platform that was as forgiving as possible while delivering, you know, that low spin, workable performance that better players look for, you know. And we have been fine-tuning the recipe over the years, but obviously going to this kind of new construction with the Infinity Crown allowed us to save some additional weight that we can reposition not only in the weight track here, but also some additional weight in the back for extra forgiveness. So this is a really nice thing when you have that extra carbon material in the product, is you can really deploy that weight in a strategic way for different players in different ways. And here the goal was to scrub some of the spin off even from Stealth 2 Plus.
Okay.
And getting a little bit lower spinning. We're seeing success already. You mentioned Scotty Scheffler. We're already seeing in the stats tour players picking up distance from where they were before, but again, because they're able to swing confidently, get the launch conditions that they need, and get a little bit extra distance. This also has a new track system in it.
Yeah, totally different looking.
Totally different track
looking,
system.
but
yeah,
not quite small.
Not quite small. You know, the cool thing about this is one of the things that we've always wanted to do is improve the efficiency of track systems on the sole. Track systems on the forward sole is great for drivers that create low spin, but it does offer a little bit of an aero penalty, especially when it's exposed in the heel. So this new system actually has the weight going into this garage system that covers up the heel. So in that downswing, you're going to get a little bit better aerodynamic performance over the heel.
But you're still going to get similar adjustability in terms of that draw and fade.
Yes, the CG movement is about the same as on Stealth 2 Plus. It's an 18-gram weight in the track there, and it's going to offer plenty of sort of draw fade adjustability there.
And I feel like when you talk about, like, the, you know, the back weight, which is on all three drivers, they are kind of streamlined a little bit compared to Stealth and Sim that we saw earlier with these. It looks like you have streamlined them a little bit for that aerodynamic advantage.
Absolutely, yeah. So we went to sort of, if for lack of a better word, a single keel system here. So really thinning out the top here. Really focusing on, again, especially for that higher swing speed player in this LS model, making it super aerodynamic. So the most slippery club we could possibly make, while delivering obviously the speed that TaylorMade is known for with the carbon face, and also the low spin condition we talked about.
Yeah, so we're looking at a driver for better players, yet still forgiving.
Still forgiving.
Still letting us get away with some maybe less than perfect shots.
Absolutely.
All right, so the Qi-10 LS. If you want to check out more, go to TaylorMade.com, see if more. Thanks, Tomo.
Thank you.